Hey, welcome back. Today we're looking at Psalm 108, 109, and 110. So it's just 3 Psalms today, and they sure sound like Psalms. There's a couple unique things that we'll dig into, but it's 3 Psalms back to back. What do you think?
I think you'd hit the nail on the head there. They sure sound like Psalms. There's just, I think maybe today something that stuck out more than ever is like recognition of God's power. So these Psalms are asking for like God's like super amazing power to come down and like smite his enemies. So I guess that's kind of a cool thing that we've not really talked about before, but it's definitely like an obvious thing. Recognizing how powerful he is in order that he could come down and just like in ways that are completely not humanly possible take care of people that are against us.
I think you're referring more specifically to Psalm 109.
Yeah.
Psalm 109 can be viewed as an imprecatory psalm.
Big word.
So an imprecatory psalm is very unique in its character because it's very like angry and ready for God's wrath. A lot of
you
people
said seeking vengeance earlier.
They appeal to the vengeance of God on their enemies.
And these are some like intense things too. Like some of the verses are saying things like, make his days in office be few, may his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow.
Yep.
Like, shoot, this person really hates on whoever their enemy is.
May his children wander about and beg, seeking food from the ruins they inhabit.
Yikes.
So these Psalms, imprecatory Psalms, are no joke. One of the more...
I wonder if somebody sang this song over Job.
I don't know. I would guess not.
I mean, all the things that are listed, what happened to him?
One of the more easily recognizable imprecatory Psalms is Psalm 69. That is the one that people usually go to as an example of what these look like. But Psalm 109 definitely is calling upon the Lord to act in vengeance against wicked people. So this is not David like asking God to act against people that are annoying. This is David asking God to act against people who are evil and wicked, who have no regard for God or his statutes. He's basically saying, like, God, bring your judgment now. And you can see it when you read it. It is like, wow, this is intense. It's obvious he's very upset, and it's obvious that what he's asking for is pretty wild. What is interesting is about halfway through Psalm 109, maybe 3/4 of the way through, he does turn and talk about how God's love is steadfast and good, how God delivers people that seek him, and ultimately, like, it kind of lands on this place of love and grace. And so ultimately, God is loving and gracious
towards the
his
person
people.
Calling out, right?
Yeah, towards his people who obey him. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, God is vengeful towards people who do not obey him. We still believe that today. Obviously, we believe that happens eventually, and we hope for grace and mercy in all circumstances that people can turn from their sin. So the question you get a lot of times is, okay, so David prayed imprecatory psalms. He prayed that his enemies would have...
Yeah, but haven't we, though, too? Like, I definitely feel like I've prayed certain things before because I'm just so frustrated. Like, God, please let this happen so that they know how bad this hurt or how whatever. But then at the end, it's just like, also, Lord, please just be with me because I'm having a really hard time.
I don't know. I think I can pretty confidently say I have not prayed before the Lord, please do these kinds of things.
I don't know if I would say that I've prayed for people to become fatherless or a widow, but I've definitely been like, God, please let them know that this is wrong and this is bad. Yeah. Like, you better show them what's up.
So these Psalms are incredibly unique in nature. The trick with them is that Jesus says... love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Mm-hmm. So this is different. I guess David is praying for those who persecute him.
In a very strange way.
Doesn't seem to be loving in nature. I think what we have here is, I've said before that Psalms are David's journal entries, and this journal entry is pretty intense. And I think you're calling out the right thing, Jenny, and that there are times where you're upset and you're frustrated. I don't mean you specifically. I mean, we can be upset,
yes.
and we can be frustrated, and we can think crazy things. And maybe we even at times wish that God would do crazy things. But ultimately, God is gracious and merciful. He's long-suffering. And I think about, there's a story in the New Testament where some of Jesus' disciples want to call down fire immediately. Like, they're basically like, hey, can we call fire down on these people? They were mean to us. And Jesus is like, what are you talking about? No, you may not do that. So can we pray imprecatory psalms over people? I think it's probably not a great idea. But it probably also illustrates that real people write these things and real people experience these emotions.
Bless those who curse you. Bless and do not curse.
Yeah. I think
That's what this reminded me of. Like, dang, how is this a prayer? This is more like asking God to curse these people.
it's pretty intense. And ultimately, what we want to see is people to turn from their sin and follow God. And vengeance belongs to the Lord. So if the Lord's going to do that, then the Lord's going to do that. But ultimately, I think we are called to be loving and gracious and merciful as God is loving and gracious and merciful. And I do think what you have here is proof that David is a real person with real feelings. And sometimes those feelings are incredibly resentful.
So I guess that your part for today is very practical in that there is definitely some people or someone in your life that is probably causing tension for you, or you may see as like an enemy or someone who is in your life that you just don't necessarily appreciate, get along with, yada, yada, etc. But an encouragement today would be to maybe perhaps shift your thinking and your prayer life to be praying blessings over that person, and praying that God will change your heart to desire blessings for them and not these curses, although it is very human nature of us to want God to intervene in that way. But just to pray for those who persecute you, or bless those who curse you. Bless and do not curse. So some tangible ways to just interject into your prayer life of praying for people who maybe you don't necessarily put on the top list of awesome people in your life.
If you can't think of anybody like that, way to go.
Yeah, for real.
So we'll be back again tomorrow. We're diving back into Chronicles. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much for listening to God's Plan, Your Part. If anything stuck out to you, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to receive a Bible, you can email us at godsplanyourpart@gmail.com. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, please consider supporting us through the link in our description. We love that you're on this journey with us, and we hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow.